voice.
That's your voice.
And bring down the reverb on that because I already explained that. Your microphone is there.
I'm familiar with the layout.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Is that about working here? You have a drink? Okay. I'm gonna get a drink.
I got a drink.
That's super cool of you.
Why did I pick the one chair this?
Why would you pick the one that doesn't have that bottle?
You know, things are always breaking down.
Story of our lives.
But there's a positive thing to a breakdown.
Always.
You know it.
Sometimes
The breakthrough.
breakthrough. I was gonna say it. How did you know?
Oh my God. If only we could break through to the other side.
I would get a door or two, if you will. I mean, make it easy.
I've been good. Real quick. Bula. That's not for them. That's just for us.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Apparently, everyone else will get it.
I know.
No.
But in case
No.
you need a flashlight.
I just talked to my console against the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Alright.
So,
I'm just gonna
I
lean
loved
with
your
it,
set.
rock with it.
And I'll sit on it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like, sit on
Yes.
it. So, just to shamelessly plug, I got some stuff coming up here. For those of you who are still here, thanks for making it to the end of the night, end of the show.
Yeah, you can clap it up. You can clap it up.
You're in for a special treat. It may not be a sweet treat, it might be sour, but it's a treat nonetheless.
I mean, I'm here and I'm diabetic, so
Yes,
technically very
we are
sweet.
going to kill Jose with sugary treats.
That's called
Sugar-free,
my life.
sugar-free.
Yes.
No, it's okay. Kill me now. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, wow.
What?
Okay.
Oof, that went dark really fast.
Okay.
That's how I like it. Dark and fast, baby.
Oh.
The number of
You know
layers.
it.
The layers. I know. The layers deep we just went
Yeah,
there.
you've known me for years.
I've known you for years, in fact. How many years has it been now?
Since like
2017?
no, 2016.
2016. That was,
We opened the bar in this December of 2015,
yes, that's right. So March of 2016.
and we will not shout them out because fuck them.
Pretty much.
We both used to work there. Owners suck, and I don't care if they watch because I'm recording this just for my YouTube channel. By the way, I have a YouTube channel. It's on the TV right over there. That is Alligator Couch Podcast, and we've been doing more than just podcasts now. I'm kind of doing like a multimedia thing. I post my stand-up when I do stand-up here or elsewhere, and the classes and shows that I am performing, I will be adding to the channel as well. I did my first show here on July 4th. Had a great turnout despite that being a really like shitty day for kava bars or, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I had a great turnout, had a great class size. A lot of people left the class and the two following shows feeling really, really good. And I'm like,
That's amazing.
good, I still got it. You know, I shook off the rust. I used to own and take part in Speakeasy Theater in Miami, which you remember,
I do.
on North Beach. And you know, when COVID happened, we stopped doing live comedy and live theater and live performances.
When COVID happened, everything unhappened.
Yeah, it sucked, and you know, it has been since then that I stopped teaching. And now that I've taught my class again, I've just I've restructured my curriculum. Like I'm going to be doing shit that I've always wanted to do with people that are willing to not only use improv for humor, but I use improv for many, many things. It is a huge growth development tool that I've learned because a lot of the times with improv, everyone always thinks it's comedy, and most people think it's bad comedy, and they're not wrong. Because a lot of the improv that is performed in this day and age is done through people who just have watered down versions of the good educated
I found that to be true, and I'm by no means an expert, but I find that to be true. I was thinking about this just the other day, watching a bunch of like stand-ups just back to back on Instagram, and I realized like for those of us who know, like there are formulas to writing comedy, not in a formulaic way, but just there's guides and there's rules, there's structure.
The bones.
There's bones, right? And it's cool, and I would even say respectable to stay within those rules. Like I honor that. Like that's important to keep structure in your jokes. But I also noticed that too many people think that they figured it out, but what they've got is at such a surface level, and they write sometimes the most skin level, if we're talking about bones and muscle and all of that, just that top level, hairline level of a punchline. It's not even a joke. It's just a thought, and
Right. And to be truly honest, there's an audience for that.
I guess so.
There's an audience for all of those like really hacky shows, like Big Bang Theory. If you like that show, it's fine. It's just not it's not true to the art form of writing and doing real comedy and
Right.
doing things that are raw and real.
I like that. That's a good way of putting it. Did you have
Say that again? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good way of putting
It's a
it.
good analogy.
It's like the Frosted Flakes of comedy. Or bologna. Oh, that's funny because it's a pun. I got it. I'm smart.
It's sugar free.
And it's sugar free too. That's exactly right.
But a little bit about I fucked it up. A little bit about the classes and the performances that I'm going to be bringing here to this venue, and hopefully more venues as I get some steam going. Is like I want to go back to a time where people had real freedom in comedy,
Okay.
and like
I like the way you worded that. Keep going.
this is like the best example I can use is like people gotten so PC and oh, you can't do this or you can't make fun of this, and that's truly incorrect. Like I can make fun of anything. It is up to you whether you want to look at it through the lens of humor or if you want to be offended. And if you want to be offended, that's great, because I don't give a shit. I'm not serious. I am here to make people laugh, make myself laugh, and I use it like comedy and like my dark sense of humor is my great filter for who I want around me in my life.
I want to answer that, if I may. Go for it. So, I have been. This is a little bit in a different space, but in a similar one as well. I'm sure I don't have to explain to anyone here who has ever been on, the internet, this entire space of what do they call it these days? The manosphere.
I don't know what that is.
Awesome. So in the internet, there are a lot of people, men, who want to give their opinions about how the world works, and specifically that thing. It's how women work, how men work, and why dating is terrible. And it becomes this like really toxic place where a bunch of men have a bunch of, I'm gonna call it out there, shitty ideas. And so much of the advice that is given by one man to more men about not men is heavily based on
Ignorance.
not just ignorance. I mean, that's the obvious one, but it's like the end goal is to. There was like someone talking about like, oh, if you say too much too soon, then your perceived value goes down, and it's
the economy of words and like
all of these tactics. It's about these like manipulative tactics, and where I think about that is, wouldn't you want your actual self, whatever it might be, to be the very filter which attracts the people that you would want in your life anyway?
Yes.
Why are you trying to pretend to be something that is clearly not sustainable?
yeah.
You're not, like, no one's gonna, like,
And the people
Can I
that
say
you-
something about that?
say something.
Yeah, let's hear it from Rocio.
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 So I feel like Yes, that would be amazing, but you can only meet somebody as far as you've met yourself. So if you are not in touch with your authenticity, you're not gonna give that to someone else. You're only gonna present what you think they want from you.
Right. I like that. And you're totally bringing in the people that like you don't want around you. When you're that inauthentic version of yourself, like I have to be societal standards, I have to be male standards, woman standards. Like none of these things are really that fun when you start quantifying them into like this has to be this way for this to be that way. Like there's no real joy or freedom in it.
Well, I'll even add to that. Yes, I wanted to say as well, not only that, you will also only attract other people who are equally as inauthentic. So you're gonna bring that same space into you that you yourself have.
For sure.
But it's amazing that they're like, damn, I'm not in touch with myself. I know I'll create a bigger persona and try to make and double down and make sure that no one knows that I actually have whatever I've got going on. They didn't want to interrupt that, or I didn't want to like forget, but yes.
I feel like it starts with like how society makes us agree to rules that we know don't make sense, and that starts a separation between realities and what we do on a daily basis.
Yeah. And
And it gets to the point where now we know somebody's going on stage, we know they're trying to make it light of something, they're trying to bring perspective to something. There's so much separation between that person and reality that they can't even accept that that person's not actually trying to hurt someone's feelings.
and you got the right word in that sentence is separation.
Yeah.
Like what I like to do is my humor may divide you, but it's not designed to separate people from me. Like I'm not gonna come up here and alienate any certain group of people. When I make fun of people, it's because I like them. And like those are the people that I want to make fun of me, you know, not like getting too deep and personal, but like surface level, like that's what we did in the military, that's what we do in hospitality, we bust balls. And like that is my mechanism or my like my way of being that I like to put out and receive and like and if somebody's really good at roasting me, I'm like, I fucking love this person.
I like that. And not that I want to make this the structure of what we're talking about, but I find it interesting as a cognate to like, so if I'm like, you know, I meet someone, I'm meeting a girl, I'm flirting with her, right? I might come into it with really playful energy of saying like, oh my gosh, you don't like chocolate chip cookies like I do, we're clearly getting a divorce. I might say something stupid like that, right? There's clearly no real wedding. There has been no divorce to have.
There's
you
no
know,
real sugar.
There's no real I like that, that's hilarious. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I am clearly bringing someone into this fantasy that is not real. And anyone who takes me seriously would be like, what do you mean we're getting a divorce? Are we married? Are you some psychopath? Like, that would be such an outrageous way to reincorporate reality into something that's clearly not.
Yeah.
That rather, if someone were to respond with, oh, you mean the way that the sugar is free? You know, like something dumb like that and responding back to me, I'm immediately hitting it off. And I'm like, you get it. You're in the same world as me.
They're playful enough to give you a yes and.
Exactly. I want to throw a mild, not a curveball, but a question.
Yeah.
Because here's the flip side of that statement. I've heard a lot of people who also say, I'm just trying to express myself, and if you're offended, too bad. When really they're just being otherwise not funny. And I think you know me enough to know where it is that I'm probably going with this.
Right, yeah, people will use the same thing to be either manipulative or they will use it just to make themselves feel better, not to make each other.
They're not making people laugh, they're just soapboxing.
Leo.
Because, you know, I also wanted to point out, like, to that extent, you can also tell when people don't really want to bring people together. Because I always use the South Park theory. South Park has been able, like, the writers have been able to make fun of everything under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still running with series, shows, movies. The thing is, like, the intent and the writing. Like, if you actually write something good, you're not really, like, dissing anybody or getting misconstrued. Because, you know, you're putting everything together.
Yeah, this ain't like Kendrick and Drake. This is
Shit.
you know, a lot lighter. a lot lighter.
No.
We leave that for the Boondocks. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's right.
can't make fun of someone or something and actually be funny when you actually hate it. And that's something that comes through.
Yeah.
And I also feel like being hacky doesn't make you a bad person.
That's a good point.
Being hacky?
Yeah, no,
Oh.
that's a good point. It's a good reminder.
No, everybody's learning. Everyone's at their own level of their
Yeah.
journey. Like, just because you like.
Oh, you're actually saying, I'm sorry.
Even though you are not particularly great at the craft of comedy or breaking balls, doesn't mean like you can't participate. You gotta practice to get good.
That's a fair point. I thought you were saying bad, but are you raising your hand?
I was just asking, what are you guys talking about?
We are talking about
Tune in.
talking about 2K. No, right now, mostly in the sense of comedy, about how there is this world where people give surface level jokes, and a lot of it has to do with just their own insecurities about being able to go deep and into themselves and being authentic.
Yeah.
Whether it's on stage, whether it's at a bar talking to a girl, or really just showcasing your artwork. Hell, why not? When it comes to open mic and music,
But I really think the first step in this is being able to use self-deprecating humor and not meaning it.
That's a good way. That's a
If you
really
can
good
point
tool.
out your flaws in a way that people are like, that's funny.
Well, it's a clear signal that everyone gets to smoke, including yourself.
Yeah.
It's a clear signal. That's
You
a really good way to put
you
it.
gotta have the thick skin.
It's funny because I think about that as well a lot too. So I follow some comedians whose humor, maybe I once liked. At this point, the material itself, it's not for me, right? As Casey would say, like I'm one of the people that would be filtered out away from those punchlines.
Right.
They just, whether they're just the political themes I'm not a fan of, or, huh? No, honestly, no.
Love you.
Yeah, there was a time I liked him more. Sarah Silverman is just has like her thing. There's nothing wrong with it. But I think of Steve Byrne. I don't know if you remember him.
Asian guy?
Asian guy, yeah. Who's half Irish, half Korean, so he's Caucasian because he's Caucasian Asian. Yeah. He has a lot of really dumb little jokes, but these days he plays into this audience that I notice leans politically different than I do. So I know that his jokes are gonna lean more towards that audience. It's not bad, it's just not what I like, but there's a difference.
Can I tell you what I'm tired of? I absorb a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
Everybody does it. I feel like it's such easy, low-hanging fruit, and it's talking about relationships, talking about your pets, talking about fucking TV shows. I'm like, guys, it's been done. I want more. If you're gonna do it more creatively. Make better metaphors. Take
People are still doing pets.
Jesus. Take the approach of what hasn't been done. What perspective is fresh.
Yeah.
Or something that has always been there that we don't think about.
No, Luke, he's not doing pets. I mean doing jokes on pets.
Yeah, we're gonna fuck pets.
That would actually be a fresh take on a joke.
I know you got a bull mastiff.
I'll be honest with you. Honestly, since George Carlin never made his joke about technically buying a pet is purchasing a small tragedy, honestly nothing else really tops that. Nothing competes to me. Unless you're 80 years old and buying a tortoise. That was his whole bit. It's really hard to beat that for me personally. But
there are the greats out there. And there's such a new brilliant crop of young comedians and people that are my age that are getting into this, and I'm it doesn't matter for me if I got into it when I'm young. I'm getting into it now, and it's something I'm passionate about. So that's the only thing I need to keep elevating myself, to keep rising, to keep making my friends laugh, making my viewers laugh, and making myself laugh, especially about myself.
yeah, you can't do it for yourself then. Yeah.
Also, real quick to the point about how everyone's kind of treading the same ground. I also agree with you. I've noticed that a lot of them.
With pets too? Are you doing pet jokes too?
About the same jokes, because I've noticed that a lot of the newer ones too tend to just do safer things. But
Yeah.
the thing is, like you said, for it to be something funny, you would have to say something extremely outlandish. For example,
The shit that makes you go, oh.
Because, for example, there be sometimes when they try to talk about sex, and it's like, oh, you know, your first time sucks. It was like, yeah, it was everyone's first time sucked. Unless you were like, my first time I ended up in the doctor's room with my partner. That would be like, oh.
That's a made-up story right there.
Okay, so you want to talk about it, or you good? No?
He got stuck.
I will say
Was your shirt
one
ripped?
caveat to
Was your
this
shirt
though,
ripped?
and it's actually not really a caveat, but rather just something that I noticed to keep in mind. If you are, and you know, I'm gonna say the weird thing. If you are of a particular group of people that you identify, it's usually you're gonna see that with minorities or you know, any group of people that you identify with that group.
Or majorities.
Or majorities, but it's something that it's a phenomenon that I notice happens mostly within minority groups because the group itself is so heavily part of your identity. You will often find yourself authentically writing jokes or writing things about your group in a way that might annoy those who are not in the group. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
You just gave me a great idea.
Okay.
If all of the
Florida comedians came together and made Florida jokes.
no,
Yeah.
if all of the Spanish and Latin speaking countries stopped hating on each other so much,
There's no fun in that.
they would fucking destroy the United States.
Well, one, true. Two, I think we know that. Three, speaking as a fellow Hispanic, I'm not even like from this country. I'm American, I know this, but you know, there is the Hispanic world, the Latin American world is really self-sustaining. It is Brooklyn alongside New York. It really can function on its own, and they know it.
Yeah.
They know it.
They know
It is known. But I will say, it's very interesting because the joke. I do follow a couple of Hispanic comedians. A lot of Venezuelan comedians. They're very funny. They're very funny.
They light it up.
Yeah, they and they do so in a way where you're gonna hear a lot of shit about everything about Hispanics, whether it's the accent, whether it's the what are you doing here? Oh, you're married too. You're married to this white guy. Los papeles, right? Los papeles, and everyone knows, and like we're all in the same jokes, right? So there is in jokes, and that's where some of the writing might sound repetitive if you're not part of that group, but said in a hot take or said in a funny way or in a reminder way, I accept them.
Yeah. I really want to go on Cool Tony. I really want to go to Austin and try to do it. You know, I don't write material. I don't have jokes. Like I frequently improvise. Like I'll give myself beats and you know I'll shake it out on stage.
I feel like you could go up on stage like a single flash card and just be like, guys, here's my notes. Just put it right in front of everyone.
That's a thing. Yeah, I could do that.
No problem.
But I'm getting more and more serious about my creativity, and the podcast is not just comedy anymore. There's a lot of serious topics that we cover, and it's stuff that I think people should be talking about and gain perspective on before, I'll always preface it myself, I am not an expert. These are my views and opinions. I'm open to being wrong, and that's the key to growing in creativity and comedy and whatever you're doing. Being willing to be wrong can change your entire perspective. It can make you excel at anything that you want to do.
You mean you don't have all the master hacks to make sure that she wants to be
No.
with you forever and never?
No, I got all that, but just gotta not be manipulative.
What?
I think it's gross.
You.
It's crazy. Clearly, there are some opinions here that are strongly held. I was going to say one last thing about this as well that is often overlooked. The time. The amount of time it takes to put in the work necessary to make it to anything that you think is worth any level of accomplishment. I really want to emphasize that.
10,000 hours.
Wait, what did you say again?
I'm glad you asked.
I'm a professional at
Time. El tiempo. El
tiempo.
tiempo requerido en hacer el puto trabajo. Anyway,
Oh, honey.
so, no, seriously, I actually funny because you said Whitney Cummings as well. I did listen to an interview with her, and you know, she brought up something interesting. You know, that I think is often overlooked. She's been doing comedy for like fucking 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years, like
Polish.
Polish, right. And that is too many people trying to come up to her. She was just saying, she's like, oh man, I've been doing this for so long and I haven't gotten to anywhere. The system must be rigged, the industry's, you know, fucked, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She's like, how long have you been doing this for? And they're like, you know, I've been at it for like 5 years, man. And she says she would laugh in their face. Not intentionally, but just from shock. Like, honey, like it takes years. At that time, the interview, she was putting in like 15 years of work at that point, you know. So I've been doing this show for like 6 or 7 years. Yeah, I appreciate when people tell me, oh, Jose, you're like, you know, you're doing a good job. You know what you're doing here, and I'm like, I know, but it's not. I mean, I'm grateful every time. No, I know you definitely. If anyone, if I ever hear from you, that's it. I'm done.
I will always give you critical feedback, and you always use it.
Absolutely, because that's the job, and you and I have that relationship and understanding. But I just mean to say, I didn't get here from just reading a book, listening to a couple of interviews, or you know, just thinking. Like I actually had to do this for years.
This is your passion.
I guess it became that, didn't it?
And you know, I have seen you grow throughout the years, and like you continue to impress me, and I'm like, he's almost at like mastery. Like you're getting there.
I'm at 7,000 hours, guys. I'm at 7,000 hours. I'm almost there. I'm coming home. Thank you, and thank you.
Boo this man.
Thank you. That's actually what I'm expecting. I'm waiting for the day. I'm waiting for the day. I just mean to say that that's also true with any comedians as well. Like or any artist. I've been doing this for so long. You know, I've had time and time again people tell me, "Oh, Jose, why do you let this person go on stage?" And I'm like, "Because they've been doing this for maybe a few years. Let them let them be."
Yeah, fucking up is so important. Like,
oh, you need to get them on stage or sucking really bad. I'm like, I know, they need to know that. They will learn it.
I've come up here and bombed so much, and you know, it's not something that I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just like, this is the practice. Get used to eating shit. And when you eat enough shit, you're like, all right, I know all these things that don't work. Let me try something that might work, or something that works for somebody else, and make it your own.
Making it your own is the important part.
Make it your own.
Yeah. It's impressive. I still find myself sometimes finding other people maybe facing a problem that it might take 3 levels of, it might be really hard work to like fix, right? It might whether it's an event that they're putting together or just a flight that may have gone poorly. It's impressive the number of times that people are like, this is hard, I don't want to do anything about this anymore. And I'm over here thinking like, but I could think of like 13 things that at least might be worth trying. Nope, I'm done. I am tired, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, but like, is it because you don't know? Nope, I know what to do, I just don't want to do it anymore.
I'm gonna leave it with this. Surround yourself with people who are better than you and that are willing to take you on as a friend, as an apprentice. Like, if you want to see your life change the people that you hang out with.
You automatically
But also
become
hold
like the
space.
people you spend the most time with.
But also hold space for people who want to be around you and are trying to actually contribute. And even if they miss the mark a few times, hold space for them.
That's a big one for me. I get to practice patience, and I know that.
You do that with me all the time.
That's
I love it.
responsibility.
It's easy because I love you. If I didn't love you, then I'd just be like, this guy sucks.
That's true. I've seen him do it. Last comment, yes, sir.
Can you guys swing it back? The politicalization. There's something about it that I think is interesting as far as like comedy and like laughing being an ancient form of healing.
Yeah. Humor is subjective.
And that healing is a big part of like how people exist in a society together and things that are kind of addressing it, bringing it out. So there's a conversation that can be talk about it and reflect it.
And it might not be the conversation you want to have. Both will be true.
In the same way, like a lot of like healing things that actually work, the ideas around those have been destroyed for the sake of like pharmaceuticals or for the sake of other things like that. If that
Big Pharma's raising the comedy industry.
that's what I'm saying.
You know,
I like to say.
most comedians, most people who are crazy enough to come up here, we all have trauma.
No.
And like, yes, making friends with that trauma and like turning it around and making it your superpower rather than being a victim of it, like I think is the most powerful thing. That is why, thank you. That is why I do what I do, is because I'm so comfortable with the trauma that I've had in my life, that I can maybe use that as a lesson, as a guidepost for other people who may be feeling the same thing or something similar. And I hope that it's educational, and I also hope that it's funny. And I'm not attached to if it happens, if it doesn't happen, I still put my best out.
It's the attachment. That's really what it is.
There's these forms of art that are like music for me is like there's like songs that are about trauma, and they become so popular because it's like a vignette of something horrible that happened to you, and you get to live in it for the rest of your life. And in fact, people only want to see you live in that. And,
True.
and that is allowed to become popular. It's allowed to be accepted, but the narrative of somebody conquering their trauma is not acceptable.
Then I say, Marco, I know plenty of Bring Me the Horizon fans who still miss the old sound where, like, you know, Ollie Sykes was like out there literally breaking his lungs, and also he was a massive heroin addict at the time. So which is the one we really want? I feel you.
Last question, Mr. Leo.
And it's also kind of like really funny to see some of the beginning artists, because since they don't really come to terms with like who they are and their weaknesses, it really shows that they also don't put a genuine act. Because when you're speaking from something that you know you've conquered, you have such a different energy than when it's something you're still going through. Because I mean, not to say that if you're going through something you can't do art, but you gotta be self-aware of your weaknesses, because then it's just gonna be self-deprecating in like a real way where everyone's gonna be like, "Yo, are you okay?" Instead of it actually being jokes.
Yeah. When you can just like take that shit, spin it around, let other people laugh with you and not at you, like that's the essence of the art form to me. And thank you guys. I'll just plug my podcast real quick and give you a hug, and we'll be out here. I have a show on YouTube called Alligator Couch. It is more than just a podcast. I've been breaking out, doing variety, doing stand-up, doing storytelling, and it's not limited anymore. I like to do it with my co-host Kip, that slender black man on the TV with me right there, and we have a lot of fun. And I like to do it with more and more people. So
Hey.
I love doing it with you. We do it every 2 weeks.
Every second and fourth Thursday.
Yeah, so like the more the merrier. Have some thick skin if you want to come on the show. I'll fuck you up.
Would you maybe could have some kebab for your trauma?
Yes, let's have some kebab for my trauma. If you guys got kava or drinky drinks, here, pour me some.
Okay.
Jose's cheating. Oh my God.
Yeah, with the staff? No, like he's not gonna have any on his own.
There we go.
Give me the loop, give me the loop. Okay.
Yes, give me the good, give me the good.
Gentle. I was gonna say something, but it doesn't matter anymore because I've had a lot of compromises. So love yourself, y'all. That's all I'm trying to say.
Thank
See
you
you
guys
guys.
for your time, attention, and your care. And remember, have fun. Boola. Back to the music. And we will wrap this night up with more fun.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Leave the Roots Open Mic. We do this every second and fourth Thursday. Thank you so much again for being here. My name is Jose. That's Casey. This is Leave the Roots. You guys are amazing. I love you all.
This is the Live Alligator Couch Podcast.
Also that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, that's why I like it.
Thank you, Jose. And now.
in the city lights. Born to shine, rolling with my boys, feeling fine. Got a banjo in my grip, spitting rhymes, let it rip. On the streets or in the wild, rapping to the beat, getting wild. Strum that string, let it sing. Banjo beats, they got that swing.